Okay, so I painted this about a year ago, and I filmed the process, and I never uploaded it or did anything with it, so I've decided, by popular demand, to upload a speed painting video of my process with this one, and sync it up with some talking, relationship talking. It's just gonna be a normal video, but with speed painting instead of my mug. So I hope that you guys like it, and yeah, here it is. Alright, you guys asked for it. I'm gonna give it to ya! It's another relationship video with speed painting. Today we're gonna be talking about being a giver and how that can be selfish and toxic and shitty, which I think for a long time I didn't think that that could be possible, but it definitely is, and I have proven that in my previous relationships where I've been a toxic piece of shit. So today I'm gonna be talking about being a giver and how dangerous of a slippery slope that can be, because I mean, to be honest, there's really two types of people in a relationship. There's a taker and a giver. I mean, you could be somewhere in between, sure, but most people are either inherently more into giving or more into taking, and if you're somebody that's into taking, you find somebody that's into giving, vice versa. And I am definitely a very giving person. And I don't mean that in like an altruistic, like I'm better than kind of way. I mean it in the really shitty, insecure, I don't feel like I'm worth anything, so I'd rather give up everything that I have because I don't feel like myself as a person is worth enough to be with you. So here, have everything in the kitchen sink because you're gonna leave me any day. That's the type of giver that I am. And I think a lot of people struggle with that type of giving. I mean, to certain extents, right? Like, obviously what I just said is the extreme. I definitely am not that way anymore. However, I'd say that I still have twinges of that same type of feeling where I'm like, I'm not good enough. I am on as face value, not everything that I should be, and I want to give this person love. Here, have this and this and this and this. So I think where things get really toxic is when you start shoving things onto somebody that they don't want, expectations on people that they don't want, or giving them gifts or gestures that even if you don't want them in return, it's seen as like an obligation to, you know, give you something in return, and that can really force some people into some really terrible situations. A really good analogy is if your buddy showed up and bought you, you know, some really nice Adidas shoes one day, you're not going to accept the gift and think like, oh, I don't have to give them anything. It was just like a nice gift. Like, your brain's going to go to, what am I going to get them? Like, they got me this gift. I can't just be a piece of shit and take it. You inherently want to give back. Even if you weren't going to spend $100 on this friend, now you feel obligated to do so, whether or not they meant to do it. And I mean, I'm not saying don't buy your loved ones and friends gifts, okay? But like, be aware that there is a consequence to you giving a gift like that, or and it works in all realms, you know, whether it's emotional or informational or whatever. The more you give, the more others feel obligated to give, and it can make people incredibly uncomfortable. In relationships, the reason why this is dangerous, and I've realized that this is dangerous, is I thought about it on a much smaller scale. Like, let's say you're with your friends at the bar, and somebody buys you a drink that you're not necessarily interested in. They bought you a drink, now you feel socially contracted to give something back. You feel like because they offered you something, they've trapped you. And in a lot of ways, if you are overly giving in a relationship, it kind of works the same way, right? I'm not saying like, don't give your partner a hug, don't give your partner a kiss or whatever, but when I was younger, you know, I would quit jobs for boyfriends. I would throw away a whole group of friends. I would make this person my world, and then I would expect them in turn to make, you know, have them make me their world. And that is a really big, like, tall order to ask of somebody, anybody. It's wrong. I mean, you shouldn't be asking for people to do that. I think that if we all become a little bit more aware of the type of energy we're putting into a relationship, how selfish we're being, how giving in quotations we're being, how much we are putting into the other person, and concentrate on ourselves and what we're doing for ourselves, we can actually find like a much happier balance in between the two, where you'll ultimately probably fight less, you'll have more respect for each other, and everybody will be a lot happier. I think the worst times in my relationship was when I was just giving and giving and giving and expecting things back, or not having things done the way that I wanted or whatever, and then it became this very like manipulative, emotionally charged thing that it never needed to be, and a lot of it spurred on from insecurity. I would say probably the biggest difference with me now in my relationships and me back in my high school days and early college days of relationships is that I've understood the value of myself, and I've understood the value of somebody loving themselves and having aspirations and goals and being their own person, and I want to be my own person, and that allows me to be able to love somebody in the way of wanting them to be who they are and championing that about them and allowing them to grow and continue on their path, rather than, you know, jabbing at them every time they try to make a move or every time they are growing in any way. Growth is not a bad thing. You should love your partner for doing that, and you should love yourself for doing that. So as I've gotten older and I've learned the importance of having my own goals and aspirations and being my own person, I've started to understand why my past self in my relationships was so bad. And yeah, I'm just happy to report that I have goals, I have aspirations, and I love myself and I love my partner. And I think that I've learned a lot, and I'm definitely not perfect, but I've definitely gotten a lot better, and I think that's what's important. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching the speed painting adventure and me babble on about crap. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time, whenever that is. Until then, peace.